we got some more neighbor drama. First story, me with my terribly overbearing neighbor. This story first came May 24th, 2014. I moved into a new house 2 months ago. I have 3 young kids. This is important for later. At first, my neighbor was very nice and popped in once in a while to see how we are settling in. This was fine. Now she and her daughter, 23, are calling in 2 to 3 times a day asking to borrow something or for me to do them a favor. It is never anything huge, but it is really annoying. I've tried not answering the door, but they walk around the house peering into windows until they get the aforementioned children's attention, and they will ask the kids to answer the door. That's crazy. I have told them that I am very busy and I don't have time, but nothing has changed. I've tried to be nice and firm, but I am really quiet and non-confrontational, as I am in this house for at least the next 2 years and I don't want to fight with them. The last straw was today when the mother asked me to mind their dog for tonight, and all day tomorrow so that she could go out to a party. I said no. I have 2 cats and they dislike dogs greatly. She came back twice more. I stuck by my guns and I refused. She tied the dog to my gate and went to her party. Help! How do I nicely make her go away? So now you have no choice but to watch. Like, that's how I would feel. I would feel like I have no choice but to take care of this dog because I could not sleep at night knowing that that dog was just tied to my gate. But that's so wrong on so many. That is, I mean, what do you call the police? What do you do? Edit. I kept the dog inside last night because it wasn't her fault and I felt guilty leaving it out. The dog didn't settle at all. I finally fell asleep at half 5 this morning, so I am so exhausted. I have had enough and I'm going to have it out with her today. I've decided to tell her that her damn dog kept me up all night, and the next time that she pulls that stunt, she won't see the dog again. I will call the ISPCA and she doesn't need to know that. I'm also going to tell her that I've had enough of her and she isn't welcome here anymore, and if she knocks on my door again, I'm going to call the police. I will update on the reaction and whether it works or not. On a side note, I am bloody terrified. What a wild thing for someone to do. Anyways, we have an update and it came 2 days later. The dog kept us awake all night. No matter what I tried, it would not sleep or even shut up. I finally got to sleep at 5:30 that morning, so when the neighbor, I'm gonna call her Mary, rocked in yesterday afternoon to ask for some milk, I was fit to kill. I had left the dog tied to her gate at 10 a.m. and sent her a text saying the same. She didn't reply or mention it when she knocked at the door. I had locked the front door and warned the kids not to open it. When I opened it, she tried to walk in on me. I didn't say anything, but I didn't let her in. Mary said, "How was the dog for you? Isn't she a pet?" Yeah, actually, Mary, she is a pet. She's your pet. Your responsibility. Crazy. I told her that no, the dog was not a pet and it had been a nightmare and that we had just gotten no sleep. She replied that if I just let the dog sleep in my bed under the covers, it would have been fine. And the next time I should let her into my bed. I kind of saw red at that point. I don't let my kids sleep in my bed, never mind a damn dog. I told her there would be no next time and that if she ever left her dog tied to my gate again, the dog would disappear. She stood silently with her mouth open. I went on to tell her that I was not the type of person to ask for favors from people I didn't know, and I don't expect it to be done to me. And I finished by telling her that while I hoped we could continue to get on, she was not welcome in my house uninvited or to ask me to do something for her. She stormed off. That was yesterday. I haven't seen her since, but the day is young. The day must have been young because we have another update. So it did not end there. The next update came 2 weeks later, June 13th. After I had it out with her, she backed off big time for a while. For around a week, she didn't come near me, which was awesome, but she isn't the sharpest tool in the box, so it didn't last long. Last week, she was having a party and came in to invite us in. I said, no thanks. I should point out that she hadn't spoken to me since I told her that I wouldn't be taking her dog again, so the invitation was completely out of the blue and honestly a bit weird. Anyways, that party was last Friday night. She must have tried to call in when I was collecting the kids from school because when I got home, there was a note that said, "Party starting at 6. Bring kids." from Mary. I didn't. The party started and went on and on and on. At 12 o'clock, I went in and I asked her to turn the music down. It was blaring into her back garden, and my kids' bedrooms are around the back of the house. She said, "Oh, hi, come on in." I told her, "No, thank you. Please just turn the music down. My kids can't sleep." She didn't, and instead suggested that I get the kids and my husband and we all go to the party at midnight. She thought it was a good idea to bring my kids into a house full of drunk strangers. Really? Anyway, I went in twice more to ask her to turn down the music. Then I gave up and I called the police. When the cops arrived, they turned it down for about 5 minutes. Long story short, this happened a few times. The music was finally turned off at 4:30. That is almost my wake up time. I wake up at 5 a.m. That's crazy. I met her the next day as I was getting into my car, and she said, "Oh, I hope that music didn't bother you last night." I told her of course it had bothered me. I had called into her numerous times and resorted to calling the police. She said, "Well, I turned it off at 1 o'clock. I said, "No, it was 4:30. She said, "Well, at least it was good music." Really? Anyway, I told her that if it happened again, I would be speaking to her landlord. She hasn't spoken to me since. It seems to be going in cycles. She pushes her luck, gets given out to, sulks for a week or two, and then just does it again. We can't afford to move for another year or two, so I'm stuck with the crazy woman for a while. I think that I just need to accept that I have a really horrible, selfish neighbor, and this behavior is just going to continue until I can afford to move. It seems that is exactly what happened, because there's another update, and this one is 11 years later, bringing us into very recent times, November 7th, 2025. 11 years later. Ma'am, how did you even remember to update this story? All right. I'd long forgotten about it and really should have updated. I'd say. I was going through a lot at the time. My kids were young, my husband was back in college, and we were trying to recover from the recession. I think Mary could see I was non-confrontational and in a bad place and thought that I was an easy target. My husband had lost his job and was in college, but was going through a mental health crisis during this time, so I was essentially dealing with it alone while trying to hold everything in my house together. She continued asking for things and tried to call in. I locked the gate and door and stopped opening it if I wasn't expecting anyone. She started messaging me on Facebook. I blocked her. It went like that for a while, and she slowly stopped trying. Occasionally, she would see me out with the kids and come over to try to get me to do something or tell me some big drama that she was having, presumably to make me feel sorry for her, but I just gray rocked her. In the meantime, I met a few other neighbors I tend to keep to myself, who told me this was her tactic with anyone new, and most of them didn't speak to her. The cold shoulder eventually worked. It was slow though, but for about a year I had peace. Then she moved out and went back to her home country. I am still in that house 15 years later. My husband is much better. My kids are in college. My new neighbor is lovely. We say a few words to each other when we see each other. And when it was her child's communication, she dropped in cake and wine. Communication? Does she mean communion? Communication. She dropped in cake and wine as there was going to be a party, and she wanted to make sure that I didn't mind the noise. There was no noise that I noticed. All right, a happy ending 11 years later, apparently. Good for her for remembering to update her Reddit post, because never had that happen, and I've been reading stories for years. Next story is titled Stalker, Strange, Weird. 3 words you really don't want to put together when you're thinking of your neighbor. That is none of those do I want to be the description of my neighbor. So last year, me and my boyfriend were having problems and he threw me out. And I am about 99.9% sure that he slept with the neighbor. He denied it and he swears he has never even had a conversation with this woman. But I beg to differ. So I found mail to her in our mailbox with our address on it that was hint number one. Then when my dude would pass out, I would leave and go to the casino, and this woman would follow me every time I leave the house and she is home. Either her or her kid follows me. She calls me names when I am outside, and then I found out that this guy who was messaging me on Facebook is her daughter's boyfriend, and he was messaging me to leave my husband and to forget about him, etc. Now I confront my boyfriend about this, and he swears he doesn't talk to this lady or even knows her name. So we start arguing, and the cops came and read me my rights. Okay, ma'am, you are breezing past a major part of that story. We started arguing and the cops came and read me my right. The cops don't just come and read you your rights in any kind of argument. What happened? Then they asked me if I threatened him, and I was like, no. And he told them I didn't. The female cop told us that a female neighbor called them and told them that they heard me threaten him. Okay, so maybe you were just having a regular argument. Maybe just a little bit of loud speaking. Now in this town, they will take you to jail for misuse of 911. He says he doesn't know. Okay, well this person who called 911 and lied over a recorded line must be dedicated. Now if he did, I don't care, we were split up, but his dumb ass should know better than to sleep with a woman who just got divorced. I wish that she would leave us alone and move on. Okay, but like, I need to know, did you find out it was her? Did she go to jail for misuse of 911? Did he plan it with her? Did they end up together? Ugh, you know, my mind could go wild. I need you to finish these stories. It's a pretty good one though, for being so short, I gotta say. There was a lot of drama in that. Next story. What could be going on here? I have lived in my council house for 9 years. I'm a single woman living alone with a disability which cannot be seen, and I grew up in this area. I've always been a good tenant, amicable, and a role model in my community, preferring the solitude of reading, writing, and listening to the occasional podcast on my Alexa device in the living room, or catching up with a few favorite television programs for an hour or two every few afternoons at a low volume. Occasionally, once a week, I'll strum my guitar quietly for up to 10 minutes, but this is never past 4 p.m. I rarely play my music out loud, as I like to listen to my music through my headphones instead of through the Alexa device. I have a record player in my bedroom, but I also don't use this very often either. I'm usually in bed before 10 p.m. every night, with tonight being an exception. I only have one property joined to me on the living room side, and I had a tough time with the last council tenants. There was an investigation into their antisocial behavior, and they accepted another property. Another single council tenant moved into the property in February. They told me that they had multiple council houses, and this is the third town that they had tried in the last 5 years. I don't know what this means. What's a council house? Right? A house owned by a local council and rented out to tenants? Oh. What's the difference between a council house and a normal house? Oh, it's just owned by local authority and intended for those in the highest need. Got it. Got it. Okay. Initially, I was friendly, but I asked for privacy when just weeks after moving in, they would constantly accost me each time I was out of the property or sitting in my garden to announce that they were watching my comings and goings, who was coming to my door, and interrogating me about what my medical conditions are. Ugh. Mind your business. Every interaction would also turn into complaints about my everyday household noises. The washing machine smelling my cooking, my private fenced gardens not being done by the council. They were also asking me constantly if I'm moving house, which I told them I am not, as I am happy here. It was bordering on stalking and harassment, as they were starting to work out and get on the same buses as me to approach me in public to have these same interactions. I started to ignore them at this point. Now, every time that I'm watching the television at a normal level, doing video diaries, speaking on the phone to family, going into my cupboards to make food, doing laundry, playing guitar, or I'm just sitting doing my writing or reading in silence, I am getting massive thuds to the wall or doors slammed. Sometimes these thuds are so loud I can hear them through 3 walls into my bedroom, and sometimes it wakes me up in a fright at night. This could be a jump, but do you think they're trying to take over your house? And they're just trying to get you to move out? Because they're asking if you're planning on moving. Maybe they want your spot, or they know someone who does. And they're like, what can we do to get rid of her? That could be a stretch. That's all I got though so far. The walls are thin in general, and some of the bumps I'm hearing are just day-to-day living, but these massive thumps and door slams are not day-to-day living, pipes, or DIY. They are being made by a person to get me to stop what I am doing. There was a passive-aggressive DIY going on for 4 months, but after complaining to the console and notifying them I had installed indoor cameras to show that I am not making unreasonable noise, the DIY stopped. There has been a strange man and groups of strange men present at the property, lots of cars and vans, and this is when the behavior is at its worst. These people come at the same time every day for 4 to 6 hours apart and only stay for 5 to 10 minutes. They bang the walls, they switch something on, and then they leave. What? The tenant is elsewhere at these times, only making an appearance every now and again. I have had to resort to playing music or increasing the television volume during the day to cover the wall banging, which I can still hear over the music, and sleeping with white noise machines on at night, which I can still hear the banging over. I have had passive-aggressive comments on the street, but I just ignore both indoors and outdoors. Last week, I got some bad news, and whilst I have never reached once to the singular loud wall thumps, I lost it and slammed my door hard on the wall at them. I am a very patient person, so the fact that I reacted like this means something is very wrong. This has not stopped them, however. What could be going on here? Does anybody have any suggestions for getting the console to take this seriously? Has anybody had any luck with finding methods to ignore or block out this kind of behavior? Or is it time for a move? Oh, okay, I don't even know. Mine was a stretch, but all the people coming and going, that could be so many things. And I don't want to be negative here and just say all like the worst case scenarios that it could be. I mean, I could. But let me know what you guys think. I do think they want you to move out though. They must. We got more stories, but first, we're hopping on hydration station. Drink some water. Your body needs it. Cheers. I forgot I had this big Stanley. Really keeps it fresh. Like, that was curled. Hello? What is that? That looks like a bean string. Are you? Forget it. Why bother, you know? A string bean. Did I say bean string? I meant string bean. I'm pissed. Oh, I made it worse. I'm just gonna do a little tuck. A little nip and tuck right there. Mind your business. Stay back there. Seeing so much burn progress. This is natural lighting. Obviously no makeup because I'm not putting any on. It's getting so much better. We love to see it. I've been seeing all your tips and tricks. They seem to be working. It is healing well. Can hardly notice it's there from some angles. Yay. All right, next story. Is my neighbor into me? Or is she just being friendly? Oh, okay. Well, this is just like a different vibe of story. I'm into it. This story came January 21st, 2021. I bought my first house in September last year. It was an odd time, but everything just fell into place. It's quite a small village and everyone is really friendly, so I got to know my neighbors soon after moving in. Yes, socially distanced. Oh, 2021, right. Then I met my over-the-road neighbor. Let's call her Elle. I can't describe it, but it's the first time I've ever met someone and been so lost for words, and my heart was racing and I just thought, oh my God, you know? So after I blushed my way through my welcome to the village type convo, we only saw each other for a wave and hello for a few days. To help kind of settle in, I had my dog, Bia, with me for the first few weeks. During this time, there was a massive increase in dog thefts in a nearby town, not just from gardens, but literally wrestled away from people. If I'd been working, then I would have taken Bia back to my mom's, but since I was home with her all day, she stayed. So the local police advised us not to walk dogs alone, but we go out twice a day, a 10K run in the morning, and a few miles walk in the evening. So obviously, this scares me. But at the same time, she's honestly a pain in the arse and gets upset if she doesn't go for a run and needs to be tired out, so I'm kind of stuck at this point. Then along comes Elle. She knocked on the door and offered offered to come with us as she had seen Bia and me in the evenings, and everything kind of spiraled from there. I told her about my morning runs, but she didn't really bite, so I thought nothing of it. Then, a few days later, I bumped into her on a run, so she started joining us on those too. A few months later, and we are spending more and more time together every day. It has now progressed to a run early morning, afternoon coffee, dinner most evenings, and then the evening walk. You're spending all day together. This would be shocking if this person didn't have feelings. Who gives up their whole day for somebody they just met if they don't have feelings? You know? Not me. I hardly want to give up my time for people I do like. It just seemed to happen without me really noticing. I didn't read into things that much as I don't want to get my hopes up and ruin everything until another neighbor commented how much time we spent together and how it's nice to see you young gals getting on, and then winked. She actually winked at me. I asked her what she meant, but she just laughed and said, "You know what I mean." So now I'm looking back on things and I'm wondering if she could like me too. Here are some reasons why she might like me. All right, let's put our dating flirty caps on. Let's see. Let's vibe this out. Number 1, I went running along the same route at the same time for nearly 2 weeks before I happened to run into her a few days later after I told her this. Next, I make her coffee every afternoon and take it over in her favorite mug. She says I make good coffee, but I'm pretty sure I saw a fancy coffee machine the first time I went around and it's not there now. Oh, she might want you to keep bringing her some coffee. Next, Elle carried on running and walking with me even after Bia went home. I told her she was going back to my mom's and she said, well, I'll have to make another excuse to join you. And then we just carried on every day. For sure. 100%. Next, she has tried really hard to bond with Bia. Bia is a very anxious dog and is scared of everyone except me and my mom. Elle bought special treats to give her every day and has been so amazing with her and never once tried to force anything. When I asked her, she said, it's important to me that she likes me and is comfortable. Bia actually fell asleep between us on the sofa yesterday and it just makes my heart skip a beat, you guys. Next, she invited me to the Zoom quiz that she does with her friends every fortnight or so, and they were all like, oh, so this is who we've heard so much about. I mean, come on. Next, we realized we had become each other's support bubble. Elle asked if I was meeting anyone else, and I said no. She said she was glad that she had me all to herself. And next, we gave each other quite personal Christmas presents. Like, it actually made me tear up. It meant so much to me. And she bought stuff for Bia. However, reasons why she might not like me, all the reasons above, but that she's doing them just because she's a great person and we're friends. See, you really never know, I guess. Because like some of those things are like, yeah, but they could really just see you as like, wow, I just gained a new bestie. I don't know. It might sound dumb, but I don't know. I need your help. She is just the most incredible person I've ever met and I really like her. But if she isn't gay or doesn't feel the same, I don't want to lose her friendship as she has become such a huge part of my life. Yeah, that would be an important part of the story, if you're even her type, if you know what I'm saying. I genuinely have no experience with these kinds of things as I went to quite a strict all-girls school, so it's not as if there were any relationships around me as a teen, and then I went to a very small university. I guess another reason is that I've struggled with anxiety and depression for the past 10 years, as well as my weight and working on my self-confidence. But I can say that right now I am the happiest and healthiest, both mentally and physically, that I've ever been. I've only just become comfortable with the fact that I'm gay, and I've never really told anyone in real life. So I need your advice. How do I find out if she's gay? And no, I don't have the confidence to just ask. What if she says no and I ruin everything? She has never mentioned anything about past relationships and I'm pretty tactless, so not sure how I could naturally slip it into the convo. Like, hey, tell me, have you ever had a girlfriend? Do you want one now? And how can I make a move without really making a move so I don't ruin things? Yeah, I mean, I feel like you have to find out that very important piece of the puzzle before making any kind of move because you don't want to make someone uncomfortable. You know, you gotta ask some questions. So, are you dating anyone? Simple. What was your last relationship like? You know, you just gotta, that's a normal conversation for friends, for people who like each other, no matter what it is. You just gotta do it. What do you guys think? This is drama that isn't bringing peace because this person is so anxious, but I feel like this is, if you're gonna have any kind of drama, I guess like having a crush isn't the worst out of all the rest that we've heard. We have an update, so let's see what happened. The update came 3 days later. So I had the plan to drop these gay hints into combos like you guys suggested, but honestly, it went all out the window. Elle was kind of stressed Friday after a crappy work Zoom and just needed to vent, so it wasn't the right time to start anything. Though I guess I must have been a bit off thanks to spending all day overthinking things here, as Elle turned up Saturday morning rambling about stressing me out and apologized for ruining dinner. Obviously, I said, what are you talking about? You can talk to me about anything. And she said, anything? And I said, anything back. And guys, the tension was unreal, staring at each other and hoping our lesbian mind reading powers would kick in. I'm having so much fun with this story. Then there was some loud noise, like a car backfiring or something, and the moment went. So I went to make coffee and then Elle asked me why I was a bit quiet the night before, and I said something about overthinking stuff, and she said, what stuff? And I don't know, you guys, I wasn't prepared to be put on the spot. My casual gay pop culture references were useless at that moment. My mind just went completely blank and I forgot every single thing you guys suggested, and my heart was pounding and I just blurted out, you know I like you, right? Girl, that was so bold. And then she kissed me. Kissed me. Shut up. Come on. We straight up just snogged in the kitchen and it was great. So you were, what does snogged mean? Oh my God. Does that mean like knocking boots? What does snogged mean? In the kitchen? In that moment? Surely not. Oh, kiss and caress. Okay. So no. Okay. They didn't, well, thank God I looked that up because I really thought y'all just started right then and there. So, you were right. You were all right. She's gay, she likes me, and she has been trying to drop hints for nearly 5 months. We were both just too scared to make her move or ruin anything. Turns out she's been burned by straight girls in the past, so she's pretty weary and was hoping that I would straight up say, I'm a lesbian, so that she would know for sure. Maybe the I'm a lesbian wall hanging would have been a good idea after all. Her friends have been helping her drop hints. She showed me the group chat, and you guys, their suggestions ranged from flirting more to just turning up in a trench coat and nothing else. Also, the winking neighbor has been making comments to her as well, so shout out to her for trying to make this happen too. Okay, well, we ended with a little love story. That one is just more fun drama. Like, yeah, you didn't have peace, but now you do. Now you're snogging in the kitchen. That's a new word for me, snogging. Did you guys snog? That's crazy. That sounds like worse than it is, you know? Anyways, let me know your thoughts. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. And I hope you are all snogging in the kitchen if you want to. Bye.